Good morning, folks. It's November 26th, 2013, and got a little bit of sunlight coming through my window here, so enjoy it because it's only about 20 minutes a day. So I watched a video this morning, and it was Ron Van Dyke. And I find his stuff kind of interesting. You know, he has some very emotional and spirit-driven videos, but I noticed he gets kind of frustrated with the way things are in the world, and I wanted to kind of elaborate on that we're all a little bit frustrated about the way things are. That we want things to pick up and go. The video today that he made was is basically along the lines of, is some major event going to happen that is going to change humanity? And I've spoke about this before, but it continues to be a subject of mine that I find very empowering and very important, because when you start talking about big events or world-changing events, I think that what people want is something to happen that wakes the entire world up to a new reality and says, hey, look, this is the way things are. We are these spiritual beings or loving beings or whatever it may be, and that we hope that some event will happen that will show us this, that will show us that life is more than we're making it to be as society. When I consider that, I just don't see any type of event, an outside event, ever being able to happen that can change people. And people will always resist change. And it's kind of along the same lines of, if like I'd said, if the government had revealed tomorrow, if we had disclosure on aliens and that they showed all the ships and they showed pictures of aliens and they even had a live alien on TV, there would still be people who would not believe it, because it goes so strongly against what they want to believe that they would assume that it's a hoax. And I think that any type of outside change that would also happen to the world, whether it be a leader that has the actual answers to our problems, or some outside source, or alien race, or even a second coming of a Jesus, whatever it may be, there's still plenty of people who wouldn't buy into it, and who wouldn't care, who wouldn't believe it, because it changes too much of the way they are. And my point to that is that change has to come from within. And when we expect a major change in society to take place, we have to realize that it's not going to come from without. It always has to come from within. So in that sense, a few of us have to learn how to be content with what we have, and learn how to express ourselves to the rest of the world, and then show others through example why these things work. Not through threat or fear. Your intimidation tactics through history of think like I do or be damned have been so intense that we have to stop doing this. We're casting stones at each other if we don't believe something. Like if somebody makes a comment on a video about something, spiritual or whatnot, and they say, oh, this is a bunch of bogus, I don't believe it. If the answer and the reply they get is that you're just asleep, you're an idiot, you don't know anything, go back to your mama's house, whatever it may be, all the person's doing is walking away feeling vindicated, as if, yes, they were right the whole time, these people are crazy. But when we plant seeds in people's minds and understand where this anger comes from, and stop throwing insults at one another because of what we believe or what we don't believe, then we'll see that the only way for us to really move forward is to lead by example. If you live your life to the fullest you can and do the most you can for people and love those around you and accept things for what they are, and most of all realize your own errors and mistakes. I make a lot of mistakes in life, we all do, but you get better at it. So we can't let our ego dominate, but we can't have no self-esteem either. What we have to do is have a very sure method of behavior that shows other people that we are happy the way we are, that we are tolerant and loving and accepting, and if other people don't want to go along with that, then we will just move along. But when we stand there and fight with them, and fight for what we believe, and stand up for something, fighting for what you believe is important, but only when it's something that is, say, harming man. If it's something that you believe that's not hurting anybody else, you can't sit and insult someone because they don't believe it. What we have to do is say, this is what works for me. Hope you find what works for you. And then go along our lives and live them. And lead by example. Because that's how people are going to learn from us, is to lead by example. And still not to have such a cocksure attitude that we think that the way that we're living is the right way. I don't know what life intended for each one of us any more than you do. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing any more than I can do by following my heart. And who's to say that following my heart is even right? But I do it because that's what I have. I learn as much as I can, and I do the best to educate those around me, even if they won't listen. This is like I said yesterday, it was my birthday yesterday, I made a little video about Facebook birthdays and how cheesy it is when everybody wishes you happy birthday on there. People that you don't even know and whatnot, because it tells them that it's your birthday. Well, the reason why I was really talking about Facebook in the first place was because of all the cheesiness and shallowness that goes with it, that people put on this front. And nobody really wants to hear about anything that's really changeful. They want to put out sometimes these positive little motivational e-cards, and then they get passed down to the next person, and it's just a bunch of recycled ideas, a way of saying, look at me, I'm peaceful, I'm happy. It's not about being this perfect, peaceful person all the time. It's not about just accepting everything for the way it is. It really follows the AA philosophy, you know. Grant me the courage to change the things I can, or accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. That's always that's one of the greatest mottos of all time, because that's what's important. Be able to know the difference between things you can and cannot change, and not to get upset about the ones you can't, and just be you, and be the best person you can. And I know that every person I meet has a glimmer of something great within them. I see it all the time. It's easy to overlook it and to find the negative parts of people. I've had some people say some pretty mean things to me, and for no reason, you know, and I could take that personal, but what's the point? And this is me here behind my eyes. This is my mind. I don't have to let anyone else influence my happiness. But sometimes we're presented with things that we cannot change that upset us, and we just have to let it go. And each one of you is just an amazing being. Don't forget that. You know, the very fact that you're here. Forget about what happened yesterday. Forget about what might happen tomorrow. Just stop for a minute and live in the moment right now. You're alive. You're conscious. You've built up yourself to who you are right now. And the best thing about building up your personality is to be able to let it go and disperse among all others, to incorporate your behaviors into the social class, the group, whatever you may call it, and to just be. So, as full of shit as we all are, we still have to grasp some sort of a life preserver of reality, and try to hang on to things the best we can, because when people say, you know, get your head out of the clouds and get down to reality and see the world for what it is, when I do that, it becomes even more amazing to me. There is no cut and dry live and die normal life. It's an amazing world. Every blade of grass has a universe within it, and it's just wonderful. So be who you are and do your best to influence the people around you, but remember that while we may not, while we may think that we have answers to certain subjects, we can often look at ourselves months later and say, God, what was I thinking? So don't hate yourself because of it. And don't love yourself because you think you know more than someone. And don't hate yourself because you think you know less. Teach the ones that know less and learn from those who know more. And have a great day.